top of here.
Okay, that's it's a little bit more.
So we can see your hand now. See if we can see your thumb.
Okay, well that's a good scan of it.
Yeah, you got the M cut. Just now to get.
We can see your hand now? We can see your thumb? Knob, or to carry their cord, or to move some cable, or to lift them up by their feet or their backs. You can see here he's kind of pushing him up, giving him a little bit of assistance. And so again, you've got a ton of these guys, and if you listen to the Flat Earth Math conversation, my problem is if these guys have their life on the line in space, then you would have them practice without any scuba diver. This way, if they made an error that would have cost them their life, you can say, hey, that would have cost you your life. In this case, they're getting scuba help, and then when they go into the real-world situation, they get absolutely no help, and their life's on the line. That makes no sense. This little drill tool, and you'll notice in the upper left here of this square the circle-like image, you'll see a rocket that is trying to leave, and it appears it's broken through some sort of a dome or firmament. I know that's crazy, because we go to space all the time, and so why would they depict a rocket that's breaking out? I don't know. Can't even think of any reason for that at all. Except maybe the fact that they've never gone anywhere and desperately want to. Next, we're going to look at the beginning of this spacewalk. When this spacewalk started, the screen that they show from Mission Control there in Houston or wherever they're at, look at the screen on the upper left, and you'll notice that they are showing a scene which clearly shows 2 astronauts and 2 or 3 scuba divers, which really caught me off guard when I saw that. Usually not what you're expecting to see when you see the control room. So clearly you can see
spacewalks in space all day long, and they have no trouble handling tools, handling small pieces with these gloves. They have the vacuum of space pulling their fingers apart. No, they have no trouble at all. In real life, they would actually be doing training for spacewalks also in a vacuum. Why don't they put people in a vacuum here on Earth? Is it because it's dangerous? If you're expecting these people to go into outer space, which is the most hostile environment imaginable, because you got space debris traveling at 17,500 miles an hour orbiting the Earth that can kill you, doesn't matter what size it is, it could be smaller than a grain of sand. If it flies through your fucking body, you're dead. And they talk about micrometeorites. They talk about damage that's done to the International Space Station. This stuff is supposed to be traveling at incredible speeds. If it hits you, you're dead. And then they got radiation in space. Oh, but does the spacesuits protect you from the radiation? How on earth can spacesuits protect you from anything? It is cartoon physics, and the people just buy it. It's a cartoon reality. They want you to believe you can do that in a vacuum. You can hold power tools like that and work on a space station that needs maintenance on the outside while the vacuum of space is pulling your hand apart. How fast would you get tired? Why isn't this Muppet straining? There's the new spacesuit we got. Buzz Lightyear, Disney, Walt Disney bullshit. Again, why can't you have a vacuum on Earth, put the guy in the vacuum, have him lift up the rock so he can see what it's like to be on Mars? If you need to simulate 0G, put this guy on harnesses, but let him experience the vacuum. Let him pick up the rock in the vacuum. Those videos would exist in real life if this was real science. They would actually be doing that. It wouldn't just be spacewalks are done in water tanks for training. That's fucking ludicrous. NASA's experimental AX-5 hard-shell spacesuit. Probably more realistic than the bullshit we're shown. This is probably what you would have to use. Except for the gloves, you still have the problem with the vacuum of space pulling on your gloves. The spacesuits in real life would kind of balloon, and you don't see that because they're underwater in the fake spacewalks. What would you use for gloves in real life if you had to use your hands? Maybe they would have extensions. You move your hand inside the suit, and it operates the mechanical hand on the outside, and it's very easy to use. You don't have to fight the vacuum of space using this mechanical hand. And do they do that? No. Why? They don't think of everything. And if we could also wake up to the public to the fact that there should be video of an Earth eclipse from the moon, video that would have existed a long time ago if NASA actually did work in space, well, NASA would magically put fake video out there, because they can't cover all their bases and they don't want people waking up to their fraud, all you have to do is investigate NASA and think about what should exist. If the space programs were real, what would we be shown? What would be the real science? Wouldn't they test the satellite technology in a vacuum? Wouldn't we have those videos? When you are supposed to believe that countries all over the world have their own satellites. Of course, if satellites were the size of school buses back in the 70s and they evolved all the way down to CubeSat satellites that could fit in the palm of your hand, of course you would have those videos. Of course you would see those test videos. But no, you got nothing. Where are the videos of a vacuum chamber and some technology whizzing around on a string showing that the satellites can be propelled in a vacuum? Doesn't exist from any country, anywhere. It's all cartoon bullshit. You have to question what you were told and you have to look into things because you're being lied to every single day. And the fraud of our criminal global controllers is pretty disgusting. It needs to be exposed.
Moves away again. Okay, his legs are getting up, so now somebody's going to hold his leg up. There's the hand. See the hands? They're trying to help him stay down. Hands, get him down. That's all.
The 8.5 G's are really being pushed into the seat, and all of a sudden, it stops. You're floating. It's a lot of fun.
The crew went through the preparation process. They reported we were ready.
Yeah, my phone.
I had a tracking station make sure that all of the safety criteria had been met, and this was now okay to open up the hatch.
Okay, we're giving you a go for your EVA at this time.
Okay.
Roger, flight, let's go. Okay.
After we got the hatch open, Ed stood up in the seat and got ready to go, and we cleared him to go, and then he took and pushed off from the seat.
Okay, my feet are out. I think I'm dragging a little bit, so I don't want to fire the gun yet. Okay, I'm separated from the spacecraft.
Ed White is flying at 17,000 miles per hour. 200 miles above the Earth.
Okay, I'm out.
If the spacesuit fails, the difference in pressure will kill him instantly. If the lifeline fails, he'll literally be lost in space.
The only thing to do would be to disconnect them and let them float around out there. I mean, it was, you know, these are things that's in everybody's mind. We don't have a plan. We don't have a checklist on how you kill your best friend.
As White floats in space, a glove drifts out of the capsule.
Looks like a thermal glove, Jim.
I don't even know whose glove it was. I don't know whether it was his or mine.
I feel like $1 million.
Today, those pictures are a classic. They're still overpowering today to realize, number one, it's been done, and that we did it. It blew me away.
This is the greatest experience. It's just tremendous.
Here's where I think the animators got carried away with creative license. The astronauts' helmets don't swivel. They are fixed to an airtight ring base, which is sewn to nearly 1/4 of an inch of multiply fabric, nylon, and mylar. Once pressurized, it becomes very stiff. Here we have the original footage of the actual EVA. It was taken on 16mm film reel, 440 feet long, which works out to be 12 minutes at 24 frames per second. A camera that can hold a 7-inch reel is fairly large. and we don't see anything that matches the description in the archives or pre-flight equipment manifest. The news outlets that reported on the equipment that went up with the astronauts pulled sources from earlier press releases and blended them with the latest flight info, because a lot of the technical details were still hush-hush, which is why the stories ran nearly 3 weeks after the event. Even the home movie cameras of the day had 3 selections of 16, 18, and 24 frames per second. As we shall see later on, the handheld camera took footage of what appears to be 18 frames per second. But when filming the EVA, NASA chose to use a 7-inch reel of 440 feet of film. This would allow for 12 minutes of footage.
The flight plan called for EVA to begin on the second orbit. Somewhere over Hawaii, the pilot was to open the hatch of a depressurized cabin and stand up. Over the west coast of the United States, he would leave the spacecraft and expose himself to space. For 12 minutes, he would perform maneuvers over the United States. He would return to Gemini 4 and continue the mission as the spacecraft neared the night side of the Earth over the Atlantic. This was the flight plan. During the final 2 days of the mission, Command Pilot McDivitt took a series of formal and informal motion picture shots with a 16mm camera mounted at the pilot's window. The camera turns inward. For a brief moment, we are able to ride tourist class with Gemini 4, watching the crew at work. We catch a glimpse of a space sunrise, flaring in brilliant color over the Earth's horizon. Using the same camera, McDivitt photographed ground objects, including this small island in the Gulf of Mexico off the Texas coast. On another occasion, he photographed approaches to Yuma, Arizona. The detail seen here shows great promise for scientific exploration of the Earth, heretofore impossible. Using this technique, we could chart the major currents of the ocean, study weather patterns, and map the geology of the Earth.